So VAST is, as Joey said, an effort to standardize the ad serving XML. And that's a pretty boring topic. But what really happened here, if you give a little history, is that in 2005 and 6, when there was this massive build out of everyone's video solutions, everyone out there, major publishers and technology vendors, came out with their video solution, and they all effectively were XML based, but they're all different XML bases, because everyone just built them on their own to make their single video player work with their single ad server. And that worked great if you only have a single set of ads that you want to run in your player. But it caused a lot of problems. And so we're in this situation right now where there are a lot of problems, where if you're a publisher, you have to put new code into your player for every vendor you want to work with and for every ad network you want to work with. And probably every publisher here has heard someone say, like, it's easy integration. Well, there's no easier integration than no integration. And so doing 20 easy integrations is not so easy. Ad networks on the opposite side. They're trying to, if you're on an ad network, you're trying to sell in your easy integration. If you're using an advertiser side ad server or a rich media vendor, same problem. You have to say, well, I want to serve into this plethora of technologies, and it's not standardized. So it's causing problems for everyone in the ecosystem. And effectively, what happens is that when you try to serve between ad servers, it doesn't work. And it can work. When I say it doesn't work, probably everyone in this audience has a personal example of times you've made it work. You know, either a vendor who can work with 2 or 3 different ad servers, or a publisher who's written some specialized code that says, if my Salesforce doesn't sell my ad, I want someone else to sell my ad. And it works, right? But it's not a scalable solution that just plugs in the way an ad tag plugs in. If any of you wanted to add another ad tag to your ad serving system, it would be a breeze, right? Because we all know how ad tags work, and there's some QA and testing, but there's no fundamental technology. What we're in the state of right now is that we're cracking open the Flash player to do anything, or the Silverlight player for that matter. So what VAST does is effectively define an XML template that everyone can build their video players for, and that supports a wide variety of ad types, as well as is extensible to what we foresee, hopefully, as additional ad types. So if the pool comes up with a new ad format, there's no reason to believe VAST will not support it. I say that specifically because I don't want to come to this meeting a year from now and someone to say, hey, the pool came up with an ad type that VAST doesn't support.
And I want to chime in on that, actually. That's a really good point, right? That I think about VAST and VPaid as canvases, right? And what you paint on that canvas is quite open to interpretation. So I'm very encouraged by the work that the pool is doing, that it will create great formats that live within these standards. And I think Kurt or Tracy mentioned, they're not trying to create standards. They're trying to create formats that have proven engagement, right? That have proven value to the consumers and to the buyers. So I think it really does fit well together.
Yeah, exactly. So we had a very large group of very technically sophisticated people on this committee. It was started out primarily by DoubleClick and Atlas, but and then it grew as part of this IAB committee to include pretty much a who's who of the technology vendors and publishers involved in this area. It supports any sort of linear and nonlinear, any number of companion banners, any sort of interactivity. So it's pretty wide, and we think covers most cases. Now, you still have the problem of ad types and standards, because just because 2 ad servers talk it doesn't mean that they know what each other want. So some of the problems for display advertising still exist, like, for example, how many companion ads. So Yahoo might have 1 companion ad and AOL might have 2. Well, you still have to know that before you start creating your creative and building them. But the interoperability is there, and you should be able to use as an agency your ad server, as a publisher your ad server, as an ad network your ad server, and have it all work together. So as this process was getting mature, it wasn't released yet, the issue of interactive ads came to the forefront. And through the leadership of Tim Avila and his team at Yahoo, they spearheaded an offshoot of VAST that is equally important, called VPaid. So with VPaid, the idea was, if you look at these very interactive ads, things like overlay ads, a lot of times you may see a cool ad from a vendor, and you say, wow, that's great, I want to have, you know, an overlay, a mouse over, it expands, it goes down, and all sorts of stuff. And as we've heard before, implementation is simple, right? The issue is that there's actually quite a bit of complex activity going on between the ad and the video player. So you can have an overlay ad that when you click on it, it gets bigger. Well, what's happening in the background is the ad needs to know how big to get. And the video player needs to pause and wait, and you don't want to have audio from the ad and audio from the content playing at the same time, and you don't want the video player's controls, the pause and mute buttons, to work when the ad is playing. There's a lot of stuff going on there that's in the realm of the developers, but is pretty important. And then when the ad closes, the close button needs to allow the video to replay, and you have certain requirements around reporting and things like that. So what VPaid is, to be pretty simple here, is a technical specification for how these two elements, the ad and the video player, interact. And it's pretty technical, but for a good Flash or Silverlight developer, it'd probably be pretty easy to implement, actually. And effectively, it says, put this code inside your ad unit, serve it using VAST, and then the video player will know how to communicate to the ad and tell the ad, this is the size you should get if you expand, this is the message you should give me when you expand so I know to pause my video, et cetera, and does it in a way that also assures a good deal of security. So you don't have an ad that can now control your video player and change its size or do things that you wouldn't want to do. So very well-designed document, a lot of thought went into that. And we see these two really interoperating at a great deal of synergy to make this entire experience as scalable as possible.